What's up? Welcome to episode 1. I'm not sure what to call this yet, but today we're going to be talking about Manet. So, let's get into it. Manet is basically, he's the godfather of all of the Impressionists. All the other Impressionists look up to him and think he's like a total badass. And that's kind of funny because, you know, whenever we think about Impressionism, we kind of think about like our grandmother's favorite paintings or something like that. Or the Impressionists are certainly put into a category where they're the most flowery and most acceptable painters that anybody could possibly be. If there's a gallery retrospective of Monet, you know, there'll be lines. To this day, there'll still be lines, you know, blocks and blocks and blocks long. And it's easy to lose sight of the fact that, you know, the Impressionists were really badasses, and they really changed the way we think about art. And the man at the center of that giant change was Edouard Manet. In this first painting, where you can just check out, I'll just plop the images down. Yeah, I guess I don't need to say that, do I? In this first painting, it's a portrait of his parents, and his parents were fairly liberal people. They allowed him to draw and, you know, kind of pursue his hobby a little bit, like as he was growing up and stuff. And you know, then he turned 16, and his parents were like, okay, you've got to join the Navy and go around the world, right? So, I don't know if he was reluctant about doing that or not. Maybe he wanted the adventure. Nonetheless, Manet jumps on a ship and sails around the world with the Navy. And he gets back. He's 18 years old. Gets back to Paris, and he's like, yeah, his parents are kind of upper class people. He wasn't like a poor kid or anything. And he says to his parents, he's like, okay, come on, I still want to paint. And they're like, all right, you can do the painting deal. So they send him off, and he gets to study painting, which is pretty cool. So the first thing let's get into the first things first is the absinthe drinker, right? I've got all these, you know, bookmarks falling all over the place, so bear with me. So the absinthe drinker, right? In order to understand like the trajectory of Manet, you have to think about how France worked and the art world worked at that time. There was this thing called the salon, right? And the salon was this giant hierarchy which basically told artists who's good and who's not, you know, who's in and who's out, who's cool, who's not. And but they were all dinosaurs. They're all kind of like old dinosaurs and almost like comic book characters, evil comic book characters suppressing true expression or something like that. But so the salon existed, and it was this giant hierarchy of artists and everybody. And Manet was cool because he learned, he was obsessed with Titian, and he wanted, you know, he was trained as an academic painter, and he was obviously very, very good at painting academically. But he was always had something in his DNA which made him kind of a subversive individual that wanted to show things and create paintings of things that other people usually didn't think should be paintings. In the first example of this, we have the absinthe drinker. And as we look at this painting, we can see in the center left this green glass, and of course this is a very popular drink at the time, absinthe. And absinthe has this chemical in it called thujone, which makes you hallucinate and supposedly see green fairies and all this sort of thing. Here in the Czech Republic, it's still legal, but not something I drink that often, that's for sure. We call it green gasoline right now. But so he's got a glass of green gasoline sitting right to his right there. And, you know, maybe that's cool, but on the bottom, he's got a bottle, and that bottle's like tipped over. So that kind of deal back then, you know, it kind of shows that it's not like, he's not just a normal guy out at a cocktail party. This is a dude who's toasted on the streets, you know, some bohemian straggler. you know. And that was Manet's first painting that he submitted to the Salon, and the Salon was like, yeah, right, forget about it, we're not going to put that sort of crap in there, we don't want these sort of people, we want a Venus, you know. So he's kind of bummed about it, and he paints the next painting we're looking at now. He paints the Spanish Singer, and this is how much longer? This is only a year after he does the Absinthe Drinker. And this makes it into the Salon, and everybody loves it. Like Delacroix and Eng, like they both think this is a great painting. When it was first shown at the Salon, the Spanish Singer was actually really high up. And they like put it up high so like nobody could see it, and then like people were like, no, that's a really good painting, and I thought, right, so they moved it down. And but in this painting you'll notice a few things too. One thing is the guitar is a right-handed guitar, and he's playing it backwards. The guitar is upside down, and the man is about to fall off of his stool, so he's clearly very intoxicated. There's the container at the bottom, and the bottom right there, the container that obviously had a lot of alcohol in it, which mostly had been consumed. His leg is raised, showing that either he's kind of off balance or perhaps he's like stomping his foot within time with the music. There's even a little cigarette butt sitting on the floor underneath his foot down there. But check this: when you look at the light in this, the light is almost like from a stage, you know, and that was a big deal at the time. And that's probably why this, you know, one of the reasons this painting squeezed its way into the Salon was because the lighting in it looks like staged, and the Salon was really into allegory and this very staged look to a painting. And so Manet was like, cool, I'll run with that, but I'm going to paint, you know, a drunken Spanish singer. And so that squeezed in, and that was kind of the first big shift. 1861 comes, right? So this is 1860, right? Yeah. Spanish Singer's 1860. 1861 comes. And Baudelaire starts writing, and he's like, he's all about, you know, the common man, basically. And Manet is like, yeah, I think that's cool too. So he does his next big, extremely influential painting. Excuse my French accent. Le Déjeuner sous l'herbe, the lunch on the grass. And in this painting, it's like we're walking through a park, and we've stumbled upon this scene. You can see the two men sitting there. They're actually in contemporary dress. That's like normal dress. They aren't like noblemen or anything like that. And they have one woman, you know, who's obviously completely naked. Her body kind of is like, there's not much definition in the shading of the body. She kind of almost looks like she's cut out and just plastered on there. And you know, the woman in the back, the perspective is just totally jacked. Like, compare the size of the woman with that boat. But you know, obviously he's thinking about different elements to bring that woman into focus more. But the other things we're looking at is, you know, the fruit, it's all over the place. You know, it's not like in the basket anymore. And the clothes are all strewn everywhere. And it's kind of like, you know, this woman is about to be on, she's going to be on the table for dinner, you know, and maybe they already have that woman in the back, and you know, they're getting ready for this one. But you know, you check out the main woman, and her gaze is like dead on. You know, her gaze is like dead on the viewer, and it's like this voyeuristic thing where, you know, these men are engaging in conversation. There's a woman in the back, you know, she's bathing. She obviously doesn't know anybody's watching you, but the woman who's, you know, considered to be the most perhaps the lowest totem pole in society, a prostitute, she's gazing right at you, and that was really, really disconcerting at the time for that. And so this painting was, I mean, no chance. He submitted it to the Salon, and they were like, not in a million years. Yeah. It was part of a snowball effect, though. This was all part of a snowball effect that was happening, and everybody was starting to get fed up. that the Salon kind of had its hold on everything. So they started the Salon de Refusés, which is the refused paintings from the Salon. And they started their own giant exhibition. And as this momentum continues, more and more, we can see Manet is getting more and more bold as time goes on. He creates Olympia, which I have a beautiful giant picture in this book here, but I'll pop it up on the screen anyway. And this is 1863.